regret the fact that I can't talk about Stalker 2, nothing will keep me from making content about one of my favorite installments of the Stalker franchise, a fan-made mod that I've covered on this channel millions of times now, known as Anomaly. No matter what rendition you choose, each and every Stalker game has one major factor at play: a lively zone full of dangerous mutants and even worse environmental hazards. The unique concept of choosing your faction and fighting for individual causes is extremely cool to me, and the world of Stalker is one that hasn't been topped in terms of open world exploration and horror. Today I'm going to give you some more Anomaly tips, tricks, and of course I'll be going over some new mods that have transformed the game since I last talked about it. So let me stop wasting time. Let's dive back into the zone together. The first and most important factor of Stalker's gameplay is its realistic and dangerous combat. Every single encounter with a hostile Stalker or mutant will test you until you either break or you learn the rules of the brutal world. There's no mercy given to you at the start, which is why you need to be smarter, faster, and tougher.
Now obviously you're going to want to be careful with all of your ammunition that you collect within the zone. There's only so much of it. It's not like you get unlimited ammo or anything. Life's not a fucking video game. You don't get cheat codes, so make sure you count your rounds. Make sure you know how much ammo you're rocking. Oh, nice. 2 bullets, and what's in the chamber? Nice. Okay, so I'm basically screwed unless I find a stash or something nearby. I guess I better keep looking. But remember to keep your head low and your guard up, because you never know what. Yeah, kind of like that.
I'm not kidding. The combat can frequently change from super easy to butt-fucked in just the blink of an eye. You have to keep your guard up at all times. This is something I preach in every Anomaly video, but it's because it really is the most important part of the game. A single bullet can drop you like a sack of bricks if you're not careful. The newest update to the game brought about a new death scene that kind of freaks me out. You could be walking somewhere, minding your own business, searching for stashes, when suddenly— oh, fuck! What the hell killed me? My whole screen went black. Oh, it's just that fucking thing, a ginormous spider bug from the Metro series. Actually, in Anomaly, it's called a Mizgear, and it's just one of the many new threats that have wandered into the zone, hungry for whatever they come across. I guess it's time to mention this mod because it adds some new threats to the spawn pool. This is a series of mod packs that were uploaded to ModDB, known as the Respawn Collection. Of course, it requires quite a bit of mod order placement, but I'll give you a quick summary. You'll need to download all 4 parts in order for this to work. Afterwards, download the mod called Rebound Encounters. This will add the new mutants of your choosing to the spawn pools of the zone, including day and night cycles with unique new threats lurking after you in the darkness. One of the more common ones you'll come across is known as an Al-Ghul. These things are like giant frogs, or if the Wishmaster turned into a quadruped. They're similar to Chimera, which are often regarded as one of the rarest and most dangerous mutants to come across. Al-Ghuls are really only different in appearance and speed. They lunge after you abruptly, and if one of them gets too close, you're already dead. These flying little shits are called Litulka. They're nothing more than mutated mosquitoes that deal minor damage, but it's still cool to see them try and inflict chaos on other stalkers. Other smaller creatures include the Terrakin, Tushkano, Garuda, and many more that I'm still discovering as I play. Not only do the new mutants add a variety of terror and anxiety to the zone, but so does the random placement of the formed anomalies that lay in wait for some poor sucker to wander aimlessly into them, only to meet the worst fates. Some anomalies do something very simple like electrocute you to death, which I imagine isn't painless, but it's gotta be a hell of a lot better than a thermal, whirligig, thorn, or fucking thumper anomaly. One cool thing I didn't comment on enough from the last time I played this gem were the amount of interior buildings you could go inside of. It never occurred to me just how open and explorative each area of the game is, sometimes leading you to dark crevices where a stash is neatly tucked. A major passion of mine is to explore abandoned buildings someday, just for the sake of seeing how the decrepit environments age and the haunting imagery these places leave behind. It just fascinates me. Thanks to Anomaly, this is probably the closest I'll ever get to seeing abandoned places like tunnels, labs, towns. You get the idea. If you're ever bored, you can basically ask anybody in the world for an odd job that varies in difficulty. A unique built-in mechanic that increases the immersion is the fact that the zone is alive in the background, meaning the world doesn't only revolve around the player. You could be battling an army of Lamansk monolithians, meanwhile some other random stalker is killing a chimera in the outskirts of Pripyat. If that stalker dies, You can go to his body and take his loot, even if you're in a different area of the game. Fights will often happen off-screen depending on your faction, but the benefit of this is reaping the rewards for yourself, like a crow picking through a mangled corpse. It's a good idea to try and take anything useful from anyone that doesn't seem to, need it anymore. But sometimes you can't predict when another stalker has fixated on a corpse and baits you into looting it. Then they shoot at you from across the fucking road. Your best bet is to search the area thoroughly after a rough encounter to make sure nobody is waiting for your back to turn. When there is some peace and quiet, you should take advantage of it.
Now, when there is some downtime in the zone, you can actually relax, take a minute to look over your equipment and make sure that you're in good hands. But also, you can't forget about your health, your metabolism, and well-being. Much like real life, we get hungry. So I'm gonna show you just a couple of the things that I found on my way here. Personally, I think it's a good poll. So for starters, I found a banana, pretty cool. You don't see these very often in the zone. It's probably a little radioactive, but I'm not worried about that. It fucking everywhere is radioactive. I found some mineral water, very good, very, very good. I'm gonna need plenty of that, so I'm gonna wanna make sure I watch every single drop. I can't waste a single granola. It's about like a handful. It's a little stale. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. But you know what? This should be enough to keep me going, keep my mind at ease, keep my focus up. It's plenty, trust me. Bandits and fucking mercs everywhere. You don't wanna fuck around, because if you do, then you're screwed. You're probably wondering, what the hell am I gonna eat for dinner? Yeah, these are just the appetizers. Well, thankfully, I actually killed a bloodsucker. Yeah, I killed one of the goddamn things. Let me show you. It's some sort of like brain matter. It's probably not the healthiest thing on earth. Like, I wouldn't feed this to my grandkids or something in the zone. I probably wouldn't even feed it to a pseudo dog. But it's probably our only option at protein in the zone. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you make do, and life grabs you by the balls and she don't let go. So right now she's got me, and I just gotta let her grab. But too much downtime is not good, because there's plenty of dangers out there that are after you and me. I already encountered a bloodsucker today. What's worse than that, a fucking pseudo giant? Yeah, I see one of those, I'm fucking booking it. Anyway, let's see what else there is.
I used to be terrified of playing Stalker during the in-game dark hours. Most of the mutants in the game are nocturnal by default, so you'll have one hell of a time getting from place to place if you're all by yourself late at night. Here are a couple of quick pointers to help you survive during the nighttime and to ensure that you won't get jump scared by some unholy spawn of fucking Satan. Rule number 1, do not go to Red Forest. Darkness and trees have never ever been a good mix. The woods are riddled with more than enough anomalous hazards along the beaten path. There's barely any cover if you get shot at. It's almost impossible to see shit here, and you'll more than likely just get one-tapped by a pack of dogs or something. Trust me, avoid that place when it's dark. 2, look for a campfire. They're pretty much a safe space for most stalkers, and they're scattered everywhere in the base game. If you find yourself stranded, look for the closest encampment and head there. You'll probably have a better chance of survival with the fire on your side. 3, don't run around aimlessly. This goes for playing during the daytime as well, but if I had $1 for every time I ran straight into a crusher or a fucking thorn, I'd probably have $96. Rule number 4, while you're inside any of the underground tunnels, be sure to watch your back and keep your pace to a minimum. Sprinting through the twisted graveyard of vehicles and acid puddles will only get you killed. Take your time, keep your ears open, and you'll get through it with ease. Okay, I lied. It's not easy in the fucking slightest, but you get my point. It's always easier to replay a segment and try a different method, rather than to spend an hour dying without any effort to understand the difficulty in these areas. Shotguns are great for anything big, while an SMG or close-quarter rifle is perfect for hitting enemies at a safe distance. Once you emerge back to the safety of the surface, you can unload all that shit you carried with you and take a rest at the nearby laundromat, as well as sell any artifacts or leftover shit you don't want anymore. The game is very convenient with giving you somewhat of a break after a major fight or a major area. The scenery can envelop you sometimes. Some of my favorite smoke spots in the game reveal a landscape that belongs in a postcard. Of course, I'm using reshade with a few specific graphical options, but the view is always worth it. Anomaly is definitely one of the more beautiful looking games to date. When roaming around during the sundown hours, you'll have better luck avoiding hostile stalkers and possible bandits, as an experienced stalker would know that the mutants come out late at night, hungry for their next target.
Now, don't get me wrong. Finding some new weaponry out there in the zone is totally worth the search. But you gotta make sure your equipment's in good condition, otherwise, like I said before, you got yourself a death sentence. When roaming, you should always make sure you got a more powerful weapon than your sidearm. That's why I always try to keep a lookout for extra supplies or parts so I can upgrade this bad boy. In fact, I'm not sticking around here.
There are tons of dangerous things within the world of Stalker, and plenty of it has to do with the amazing modding community. This is my personal example of the greatest free-to-play game ever, and it'll take a lot of convincing to change my mind, or an entirely new game. What's next? Stalker Anomaly 2? That's hilarious, but it would be kinda crazy to see a new Anomaly formed with a new engine, much like the sequel. I'm obviously very burdened and sad that I can't play it, but I'm beyond happy people are enjoying it so much. Someday, I hope to play the sequel for myself and have a unique experience, just like the free-to-play alternative. Honestly, there isn't much else I can say about Anomaly that I haven't already. You really need to try it out if you haven't. Otherwise, you'll never be happy in life. If you don't play Stalker Anomaly, you're gonna end up going to the grocery store and getting your fucking pants pulled down. So don't be an idiot. Download the game, scroll through the hundreds of thousands of mod lists, and immerse yourself in a fantastic simulation of brutality. Stalker's world is one that I have idolized for years, and I'll continue to make videos about them later on. For now, I gotta get something to eat. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.